Do you feel like every business problem ends up on your desk? Every time a staff member has an issue, they call you. Or every time there's a customer complaint, it eventually ends up with you to solve. If that's where you find yourself, you don't have a problem with your business. You have an owner dependency problem. And in this video, I'll be showing you how you can fix it. So you stop firefighting and you start being the one who owns the business instead of the business owning you. Now, I'm sure you'll agree that you care about your business, you care about your staff members, and you want to ensure that you give the best service to your customers. But what you don't want is that every single decision ends up on your desk for you to be the primary person who's solving it. But this problem isn't caused by bad employees. It's caused by a business structural problem where you have become the firefighter and that the entire business revolves around you. When your business is structured in a way that everything flows to you, it keeps you from doing the most important thing. And the most important thing for you is to do everything to grow the business to the next level. Now, there's certain times where you can make the biggest moves in marketing, and other times where the biggest moves are in the sales department. And in other times, the biggest moves are done on the strategy of the business. But the goal is that you know when to make those moves, and ultimately you do that by design, not that the business pulls you in because the systems haven't been built correctly. The last thing that you want is that when you're working on strategy, your marketing person has to give you a call because they don't know the steps in your marketing process. Or the salesperson doesn't know the answer to a particular question that a client or a potential client has asked them, and you have to give the answer. That only results in interruptions in what you're doing and lost focus and lost time. Now, I don't know about you, but I like to work in deep flow state, that I'm working on something, and if something interrupts me, then it throws me off for anything from 10 to 15 minutes to get back into deep flow state. But even worse, having those problems where your people in your business don't know what to do, that ultimately slows down the growth of your business because you become the central bottleneck and the point in which everyone refers to take your business to the next level. Now, if you end up in the position where your employees have to come to you to get the okay, to take the revenue to the next level and to take the customer to the next level, that's when you know that you've become the bottleneck of your business. And instead of you being the person who can grow the business at the highest leverage points, you become the person who actually stops the growth. And not only is your business unable to grow because your employees don't know the answer to the questions, you were just working on strategy and all of a sudden you have to start again from scratch. I'm talking about your flow state. A lot of business owners that I talk to, they tell me that they haven't taken a day off or a holiday for months at a time and years at a time. Why? Because if they're not there, their business is unable to function. And if you're unable to switch off your phone and switch off your emails, how are you ever supposed to de-stress, take some time off and go on holiday? One of the first things that we do when we're working with business owners is to get them to take the owner vacation test. And you can take that too. If you go to the description, there's a quiz that you can take and you will be able to answer some questions to see how reliant and dependent is the business on you. It's absolutely free and it will give you an insight as to where your business is now and where it can be in the future. Now, one of the mistakes that business owners make, they just think that we can hire an operator, we can hire a manager, and that manager is able to take over everything for us. But the truth is, like, I have 7 businesses, and in those 7 businesses, each one of them has managers. But I learned the hard way that you need to ensure that your business has systems and key accountabilities and key numbers and key metrics that those managers need to be responsible for if they're able to run the business without you being involved in the day-to-day. One of the first businesses that I ever had, I had the manager who was calling me almost on a, not every day, but every other day to get clarification about something, to get permission about something, to take the business or to make that decision. And I realized, hold on a second, all of these things are coming up again and again and again. Why don't I just put into a process and have a key accountability that that manager has the authority to make without having to call me? And that was the first thing. Then when I had my second business, then the managers would ask me the same question. The thing that I had done now is that I just got the process and say, by the way, this is the process that you follow. All of a sudden, Now that has been resolved. But as I got to my third and fourth business, I also realized that the same questions kept coming up with new employees, new managers. So then I had to build a library for them to ensure that they all have access to it. Because a lot of business owners, they have this library of SOPs, they have this library of workflows, but they're unable to get their teams to use them. So if you've ever been in that position that you've done all of this work to build the system, to build the SOPs, or maybe you have, maybe you haven't, then are your employees actually using it? Because there's one thing building the systems, and it's another thing to ensuring that your managers and that your staff members are able to use those SOPs and use those workflows to actually benefit and grow the business, to give you back the freedom that you need. So just hiring people really solves it. Yes, if you hire a super A player, and if you've got the budget to do that, fantastic. They can make a lot of these SLPs for you. They can make a lot of these workflows for you. And while those A players may be building the workflows and the SLPs for you, you know the culture of your business and what makes your business unique and why your customers buy from you. So it's always good to have a look at those workflows and SOPs that other people are building for you, if that's the route you choose to go for, and to ensure that you've got your flavor and your spin on it. Because that's what makes your business unique to your customers, that they can't get anywhere else. Now, let me describe this situation to you. I'm sure you've seen it and I'm sure you've been through it. Your employee has a problem. The employee brings that problem to you. You fix that problem. Problem is now fixed. But the same problem comes up 3 days later and the employee comes to you again and you have to then fix the same problem, right? That employee now knows how to fix the problem. But you got employee number 2 and they do the same job and the same problem pops up. So then you go and fix that problem and the problem is fixed. But then the employee number 2 has the same problem again and they come to you and you're like pulling your hair out. I just fixed this problem like 4 times, right? 2 different employees, 4 different times. What the hell is going on? And that's because either you haven't got the systems built, or they don't have the accountabilities, or you've got the systems built and maybe you even got the accountabilities, but the staff aren't trained to ensure that they own those. And in those scenarios, what you've unintentionally done is trained your employees to rely on you instead of being self-sufficient in the business. So how is that resolved? There's only one way to resolve it. It's problem happens, the employee comes to you. Let's say it's the first time that problem's happened in your business, or it's the first time after watching this video that problem has happened in your business. The problem occurs, the employee comes to you. The employee comes to you with the problem, you look at the problem, you look at the root cause of the problem, and you come up with the system to solve that problem instead of you solving the problem. You come up with the system of solving the problem. You train your employee on that system, and then you run the scenarios to them. If this happened, what are you going to do? They're going to say, come to you. They say, no, you're not going to come to me. You're going to go to that system. They'll be like, okay, good. Scenario number 2, similar problem, same system to be used. What happens if this problem comes about? They're going to say it comes to you. No, it's not going to come to me. You're going to go to the system. And depending on the size of your business, you'll allow a certain level of problem to stay with them. And maybe there's certain problems that does need to be escalated to a high level. Depending on the size of your business, especially if you've got middle management, then you need to ensure that that problem then goes to middle management or to their manager, and it doesn't come to you. If you've got a smaller business, that's fine as well. You set a budget and only then does the problem ever come to you. And the likelihood of that happening is like very rare, because everything else around your business should be set up in a way that that problem never crosses the budget threshold. And if it does, then it's an exceptional circumstance. So now what happens? Problem occurs, your employee goes to the system, they solve the problem, and they go back and they serve that customer, and you have a phone which is silent and it doesn't ring, you have an empty inbox, and you have free time to work on the things that you want to work on or to do the things that you enjoy. So the goal is that you build a business where you can solve the problem once through systems, and then the business solves the problems by itself. So there's 4 things that you need to do to ensure that happens. Number 1, you need to identify all of the core functions and workflows in your business. You write them down and you're like, okay, this is now a process. This is now a workflow. This is now an SOP. So once you build those systems, you give them to the relevant people. So you assign those systems to particular people. Now, sometimes what ends up happening is that you have one system, but you have multiple people within that system. So you have to identify which person is in which step of that system. And then you essentially insert that role of that particular step of the workflow in there. And then that person ultimately becomes responsible for that step of the workflow. And that's what happens when they become accountable for it. So let's take an example of a marketing system. So ad is run, and then it comes in, and then it goes to a system, becomes a lead. Who picks up the lead? Now, you may have an automated system that picks up the lead, but maybe you've got a business in which actually you do speed to lead and you ensure that the human gets the lead. So then, who gives the lead a call? Person number A gives the lead a call. Person number A gives the lead a call, the setter, and then they hand it over to a salesperson because they have booked the sales call. Person number B, or person B, is a salesperson. That person is now assigned. Once the sale has been made, that goes over from your marketing system and your sales system, it goes over to your delivery system, which is going to be a different system. Then you've got maybe 3 people who are delivering the service to that client. So as you can see, you've got 3 systems, and maybe you've got 5 people within that system, all owning different steps. So they become accountable for those particular steps. And even then, within the accountability of those steps, they need to have metrics that they're working across. So let's say, for example, you've got 10 leads that come in. Out of those 10 leads, you need to ensure that at least 5 of them are going through and becoming sales calls. And then from sales calls, you need to make sure that at least 2 or 3 of them are being sold, right? So it may be, I need 10 every single day leads. Then I need 5 sales calls booked. Then from 5 sales calls, I need to make sure that 2 or 3 have turned into customers and you've collected the cash. And then that 1, 2, 3 people are delivering on that service. Now, the good thing today is that a lot of these things, or a lot of these steps can be taken care of with technology and AI. So definitely look at what AI and technology can be used to ensure that you're eliminating the human element where it makes sense. There's a lot of areas, for example, speed to lead, where having a human involved in that really does elevate the number of conversions you get. So don't use AI systems for absolutely everything. Use it for the areas in which you know that it's going to make life easier, ultimately increase profit, because when you're using AI and technology, you're increasing profit by not using a human, generally speaking, then you should do that. And sometimes, even when you have people who are accountable and they are responsible for certain numbers, they need to have what we call delegated authority, decision making, right? So you're allowing them to make certain decisions without coming to you. And that depends on the size of your business. It depends on what your business is. It depends on the staff member themselves, that how much authority are you willing to give them based on their experience. And that's why really you need to work with someone who does this on a daily basis to see what kind of decision making or authority you're allowing a particular person to have in your business. But once you've done all of those 3 steps, there is something that you want to do as a business owner. You need to ensure that the key metrics in your business are being monitored through a dashboard. And that's one of the reasons why I am able to own 7 businesses and run all of those 7 businesses from dashboards. And that enables me to run a 7-company business within a 2-day period, right? So every single week, I have dedicated Monday and Tuesday to ensure that I'm just running the dashboards of the business. So very high level stuff on a Monday, and then other things which can be left for Tuesday, we just let it get done. And even then, if you make the hires and you are able to make the right hires, that reduces even further. But the key thing is that the dashboard comes to you, you don't have to chase the dashboard. And once you've made that transition, that you can run your business from a dashboard, then you can either choose to grow your business to the next level or take more time off or do both. So before, instead of having your phone ringing all the time and every single email ending up in your inbox for a decision, now you don't have no interruptions, you don't have no daily firefighting, you have no weekly firefighting, you just have time and freedom and clarity to do the things that you want. When business owners work with us, we find that they get back anything from 1 to 3 days a week. That means anything from 52 to 156 days they get back from their business. What could you do with an extra 52 to 156 days a year? For many business owners, that means growing the business. For some business owners, it means spending more time with family and friends. For some business owners, it means being able to travel. Whatever the case may be for you, click the link in the description and take the owner vacation test. Now, why is all of this important? All of this is important because you actually end up enjoying your business. Let me give you an example. Today, I actually, after a long time, had a staff member call me about a particular problem. So this problem actually went through two layers of management before it got to me. And that's how you know it's a problem that required, so they didn't actually need me to solve it. What they needed, they were using me as a soundboard. They're like, okay, this thing has happened in the business and we've taken these steps. So there was a bunch of stuff that had already been done, right? So we've taken these steps to try and mitigate the problem. And we think that this is the best solution. However, we just want to make sure that these decisions that we've come to, number one, are the best thing for the business. And number two, you are giving ultimate authority for, because the budget ultimately would be in the 50,000 range, okay, for this. Now, of course, if your business, depending on the size of business, of course, if you've got a business which is doing like more than 50 million, than 50,000, you're going to delegate that authority. My business is not doing 50 million, okay? It's doing 7 figures. So 50,000 is significant. So I want to make sure that I'm making those kind of decisions. I just want to make sure that this is the right steps that they have already. They made the plan. I didn't make the plan. They made the plan. They said, we just want to make sure that we're double checking that this plan is great. And we want your ultimate authority to say that this 50 grand budget has been authorized. Today, I gave them the authorization for the budget. And why? Because I put that authority. They're not allowed to solve £50,000 problems without coming to me, because I'm the one who has to sign off on the check, right? And that's the reason why it's come to me. But I put that system in place. And that entire process that they had been working on, I think they had been working on it for about 2 weeks. And now it's come to me, and I was able to review the whole thing, the whole plan, and to ultimately give them a yes. And it shouldn't have taken me more than half an hour. We just started getting chatting about, because it had been some time since I spoke to these managers. So we just started getting chatting, and by the time we finished the meeting, it was like 1.5 hours. But the actual whole process took about half an hour. But that's what I'm saying. It's like you enjoy seeing your people who are working to ensure that your business is successful. And it becomes easier to manage, and it becomes easier to scale and enjoy your business again. Why? Because you built the freedom. You built the systems. You built the processes. You built the accountabilities. You've empowered them to take your business to the next level. And when that happens in your business becomes more valuable, and buyers are willing to pay for your business because it doesn't depend on you as a founder. So you have freedom today and the option to sell tomorrow. So if you want to find out how to build a business that doesn't rely on you, continue watching videos on the channel, but click the link in the description and take the free owner vacation test to see if your business can survive without you. I'll see you in the next video.